Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a new video. So we're going to go over what I think of the Cobb titanium exhaust that I just installed on the STI. You guys just heard kind of a little sound clip that I did in my previous video when I installed it. So now that I've been driving on it for about a week or so, and it broke in a little bit, I wanted to kind of give my thoughts, give my opinions on what I think of the exhaust. I know a lot of people are interested in this one, so I figured I would just go over what I think of it. You know, keep in mind I am on Killer Bee equal length headers and a Cat and Grimsby downpipe, so it's not the typical, you know, sound that you would expect from a normal EJ motor. But I wanted to explain exactly what I thought and just my overall opinion of the entire exhaust system, from the sound, from the fitment, from the look, the quality, everything about it. So let's get in the car and go for a little drive. My previous setup that you guys know was a Delta Motorworks setup. It was pretty much a straight pipe all the way back, and since going to equal length headers and got a downpipe, it just got to be a little bit too loud and too raspy. It sounded really good, I loved it, but it was a little over the top and too much. So because of that, I wanted to tone down the rasp and get something that was a little bit more mature and a little bit more cleaned up. Since pretty much having a straight pipe exhaust, it loses that refined sound and it just becomes messy, it sounds raspy, it's just too much. So my quest to find something else was really important to me. And one of the exhausts that I've always wanted to try was the Cobb titanium Catback. Now, you guys saw the video and everything. The thing is absolutely beautiful. I love the way it looks. The fitment on it was absolutely perfect. Overall, it's just a really high quality exhaust. If you're looking something for top notch, that's a little bit louder than stock, that gives you a little bit more refined tone, the Cobb exhaust is definitely for you. Now, I can't really comment on the stainless version since I didn't try that. I've only tried and experienced the titanium version, which I have on the car right now. I was pleasantly surprised to hear how aggressive it was outside the car. On the inside of the car, it's very, very tame. There's zero drone at all, at least with my setup. I've heard people say they had some drone issues before with different setups, but with my specific setup, there is zero drone. I can hold a conversation in here just fine, no problem. You know, over the years, my mindset was kind of, you know, if it's not droning, if I can't hear it or feel the drone, it's not loud enough. And for whatever reason, that's what became my mindset. So if I ever was in a car or I had an exhaust setup that didn't have that drony feel, I would almost immediately dismiss it. I don't know why, but that's just kind of where my mindset went. Plus, I kind of built a little bit of a tolerance for it, so it didn't bother me as much as other people. So drone didn't really affect me. Now, when I changed over to equal length headers and the Cat downpipe with the Delta Motorworks setup, the drone was like unbearable. Around 2.5 to 3,000 RPM. Just cruising on the highway like 70, 75 it was no fun to be in the car. Yes, technically it is fun in a way, but just driving and I guess me being a little bit older now, it just became too much and I just didn't want to deal with it. So I started looking to different exhausts and the Cobb titanium was first on the list. I picked it up from RT Tuning. They got it to me in a day. Super thankful for that. So I was able to kind of fulfill a dream of getting this exhaust, you know, and installing it and putting it on the car so quickly, and now being able to have an opinion on it, you know, pretty much a week later of driving on it. You know, I'm very thankful for that. So in my video of showing me installing it and doing a few sound clips, a lot of people were saying that it's not loud enough. It's not as loud as this. It's not as loud as that. It doesn't sound as good as that. You know, I was just laughing at those comments simply because people need to understand the different options out there for exhaust. You know, not everything is meant to be loud. Not everything is meant to sound this way or that way. You know, that's why there's options, which is great. There's a ton of options out there for us to choose from. You know, if you want something really loud, if you want quad tips, single exit, I mean, you name it. There's just about everything for these cars to choose from. So comparing this exhaust to, you know, a Tomei or something is just apples to oranges. It just doesn't make sense. You know, obviously it's going to sound different. It's a different type of exhaust. The Cobb titanium it's meant for, you know, I want to say a little bit more mature audience. It's meant for something, I called it a gentleman exhaust, and I think that's a perfect explanation of it. It's not over the top loud, but it's not quiet. It's a good mix between. This exhaust was geared towards being on the quiet side. You know, it's a quieter option. So, you know, again, saying it's not as loud as this or that, it makes, of course, that's a pretty obvious statement. It's not meant to be loud. It's meant for a refined, a little bit louder than stock, but a good sounding exhaust. You know, having some time with it now and driving on it every day and everything, I've come to the realization that this exhaust, it sounds like a very refined, you know, German sports car. Especially with the equal length headers, it really does have that sporty German sound. Also, another thing that I noticed was the car, it's a more visceral feeling, a driving experience, simply because I hear more engine noise, I hear more turbo and induction noise, and it's not just all exhaust. The previous setup that I had, it was just all exhaust. That's pretty much the only thing you could hear, which is not a bad thing. But it kind of opened up my eyes, like, wow, there's a lot more going on with the car that sounds really good that I never really experienced before, simply because of the louder volumed exhaust. So I don't know if you can hear it, but when I get on the car and let off, to hear a lot more induction noise, a lot more kind of turbo whistling and bypass valve noise. There's just a lot more going on, and I really didn't hear much of that with the previous setup. And overall, it's just the car seemed much faster. I don't know why. It could be from the weight savings, which is kind of negligible. You know, you can't really, it's not a lot of weight, but it's very hard to really say that when you're on the street driving, you know, 48 miles an hour right now. You can't really notice that stuff unless you're really driving it hard on the track or something like that. But I mean, who knows? The car just overall feels better. You know, I don't feel as ridiculous getting on the car. This exhaust attracts a lot less attention. So I'm not as, you know, I don't want to say scared, but I'm not as nervous to really get on the car as much. I'm not really scaring every single person that I drive by, or just being that a loud, obnoxious car that's driving all over the place. So, if you guys don't know, I actually picked up an AWE touring exhaust. A lot of people are kind of surprised by that, but you really shouldn't, because I've been talking about trying different exhausts for the past couple of videos. You know, it's not because I don't like the Cobb exhaust, it's not because I don't think it's great. It's simply because I'm trying to experiment, see what sounds good with equal length headers. And most people just stick with a really loud exhaust when they go to equal length, and you know, they don't really take the time or really try to find an option that sounds really, really good with this setup. So that is what my quest is. I'm here to try and find that perfect exhaust for my setup, so I can help others make an understanding that, you know, equal length headers do sound really good. A lot of people are just stuck on the fact that an EJ has to sound like the typical EJ rumble, you know. And yeah, it does sound good. There's no question about that. But the pros outweigh the cons for equal length. I can go into a whole video about the discussion between the two headers, but my goal here is to try and find something that sounds really good with this. And I was really, really pleasantly surprised to hear how happy everybody was with the sound from my last video on the Cobb exhaust. It was just kind of reassuring, showing that I'm on the right track, that, you know, equal length headers can sound good, and I can prove it to you by, you know, trying all these different exhaust options. So I picked up an AWE touring, as I said. It's going to be in I think next week. So I'm gonna have all the videos on that, installing it, doing sound clips, you know, my overall discussion, what I think. I think it's going to be a winner for me. I'm going to be sad if I don't choose the Cobb exhaust, simply because this thing looks beautiful. I really, really like the fitment, the sound, and the overall quality of it. Not to say that AWE is any less, but I really just, overall, I like the look of the Cobb titanium. But I'm willing to take that risk of trying for everybody to see what sounds really good. And I'll go over everything about it, you know, discussing the sound, the install, what do I think of it. And I think it's gonna help out a lot of people. So yeah, that is my overview of the Cobb titanium Catback exhaust. Absolutely love it. I'm definitely looking forward to trying the AWE Touring and seeing what I think of that. And then I'll kind of decide between those two. There are a few others that I would like to try, but I feel like between the Cobb Titanium and the AWE Touring, I'm going to have a good idea of which sound they want and which one I want to keep. But either way, I'll let you guys know which one I end up deciding on, and whatever one I don't keep, I'll end up selling, obviously, because I have no need for two exhausts. But we will see. I'll let you guys know. But thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions at all about the Cobb Titanium exhaust, please let me know. It's beautiful, beautiful exhaust. I'm honestly going to be sad if I do decide on the AWE Touring, just because this thing is an absolute work of art. And a big part of it is just the overall look of it. I absolutely love it. And I would be kind of sad to see it go if I choose the Touring. But that is for another video, guys. So if you have any questions at all about the exhaust or anything else on the car, be sure to let me know. But in the meantime, keep it clean, keep it simple, and I'll catch you in the next one.